Great to see everyone here. Thank you very much for joining the TechChill Baltic Tech Day, the launch of our 10th TechChill, and it'll be an entire week of various online events, online of course, given the pandemic, but delighted to talk about investing. My name's Andris Berzins. I'm a member of the board at the TechChill the TechChill Foundation, and on the investing side, my day job, I'm managing partner of Change Ventures, the largest Baltic-focused seed fund in the region. Investing across Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, and excited to be here. And I will be joined by guests both in the studio and also online to talk about investing in this region, especially angel investing. I'll introduce first Voldemars, who's in the studio here with me in Riga. Voldemars Bredikis from the Commercialization Reactor and also an angel investor. Perhaps you can do a short intro of your background, and also what kind of angel investments you're doing, what size investments, how often, and some examples you might want to share.
Yeah, thank you, Andris. Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here. In the studio, especially. Well, I'm by nature, by training, by education, and by occupation, I'm an entrepreneur. At some point, I started to share my business development, expert, and other skills with beginners, also with startups. Also started to support them financially, and became actually a business angel. And well, through that, I had a diverse experience first, and I understood that it's a separate industry, and my knowledge of regular, let's say, business is not always enough. And I started to participate in different angel events organized by EstBAN as well, and then LatBAN Business Angel Network. And I also went studying, and I wanted to become more professional in what I do with startups, because first thing, what drives me working with startups and being business angel is first, I enjoy working with smart, motivated, and entrepreneurial people. And second is a chance to witness future already today. Mm-hmm. So I went on to become a co-founder of Commercialization Reactor Fund, where we also work with early stage deep tech startups. Mm-hmm. And so it became also my primary job, working with startups.
Fantastic. And then we have joining us via video two guests one from Estonia, one from Lithuania. From Lithuania, Aidis Dalikas from HCT Pool, also a member of the Lithuanian Business Angel Association. Aidis, do you hear us?
Yep.
Yes. Fantastic. Would love for you to do a short introduction of yourself and also particularly your angel investing background.
So my name is Aidis Dalikas. I'm not a very experienced, hugely experienced, especially compared to these other two people who are much more experienced than me. In terms of investing, but for the past couple of years, I've been trying to find interesting startups, and the criteria was basically if I feel that I can help them in some significant way by utilizing my knowledge of marketing and advertising, and if I'm interested in the area that they are working in. So if I can learn something from them, and if they can use my knowledge. So if the founders are kind of willing to listen, and not only interested in the financial aspect of investing, then I'm kind of very, very interested in investing as well. That would be the short version.
Okay, super. And Ivo Remmelg, who I've known for quite a long time, I think also someone who's been in and around the Baltic startup scene for a long time, so working with Superhero Capital and as an angel investor. Ivo, maybe if you can give a little background on your angel investing experience. And
Hello, good to meet you all. Yes, I'm former EstBAN president and angel investor already for more than 20 years, about 30 or more companies in my portfolio, and acting also as a venture partner for Superhero Capital, which is a Finnish fund. Already we have second fund there open. I'm based in Tallinn, Estonia, full-time investor, helping startups to become big, also in Tallinn Tehnopol and Tartu Teaduspark. So, as an angel, I'm investing into mostly software startups, tickets between 10 to 50K. I've done bigger tickets as well. Depends on the startup and founders. So my investment strategy is pretty same to Superhero Capital, except Superhero Capital does much bigger tickets than me, which is mostly scalable B2B businesses, sometimes B2C, little bit hardware, but the software component is the must. No games, guns, alcohol, tobacco, cannabis related startups. So yeah, mostly pre-seed, seed round, and startups incorporated in Baltics and Finland.
Fantastic. So, you know, as context for the discussion, we've certainly seen the investment climate in the Baltic states grow more and more attractive. So, Change Ventures also has built a Baltic startup funding report. We're actually shortly about to release the second update about the second half of 2020. And just for some context, some of the numbers from that funding report. So there was almost 550 million in startup funding for Baltic startups during 2020, around 200 funding rounds. So we definitely see Series A and seed rounds growing quite strongly, even during the pandemic. Interestingly, pre-seed rounds actually dropped last year quite significantly. So what we saw was sort of the early part of the year, in the early days of the pandemic, a bunch of companies were raising what was classed as a pre-seed round, often bridge rounds, to extend their funding, to make sure they survived the pandemic. And then in the second half of the year, actually, investors got more selective, we think, and also some of the companies even skipped pre-seed. So especially some of the strongest Estonian teams went straight to a seed to a seed round and skipped the pre-seed round altogether. So actually, pre-seed rounds dropped quite a lot. We've seen valuations rising over the last few years. You know, the median pre-seed round is now above 2 million euros pre-money valuation, and the median seed round is over 8 million euros pre-money. And we've seen Estonia, which was the strongest market of the three, we've seen it become even more dominant. So the Series A's and seeds are especially strong in Estonia, and I think what we see is clearly the strong ecosystem in Estonia, the very large angel investor base, which Ivo knows very well, and we've interacted with a lot. That is definitely paying dividends in terms of giving lots of options for capital for Estonian startups. So I think one of the things I wanted to turn to was sort of ask each of you to sort of give your thoughts on what's the biggest sort of change you've seen in the angel ecosystem, the angel investment scene over the last year. So since since the pandemic started, what's sort of been your impression in terms of angel investing? Have you been doing investments during the last year? Is maybe the first question.
During the pandemic, no.
Okay.
Didn't have time.
No time. Okay.
Because of my focus on the fund.
Okay.
Fund activities. What I see maybe is that many angels and organizations as well have sort of restructured or reshaped their organizational activities and PR activities, because before we all went to pitch sessions and networking events and and that was the kind of a major course of activities, and we all had to go online, and that also caused a bunch of questions about how to bring that value to angel investors, how to choose teams, how to get to know them, and to make sure they fit your investment priorities. I think that was a challenge also for investors to understand the teams, to understand who is going to survive, who is not.
Yeah. And Ivo, how about you? How has the past year been in terms of your view of the investment scene for angels?
Yeah, I've seen more and more founders as serial entrepreneurs starting already their second or third startup. And then for sure, we can see valuations going up, skipping pre-seed rounds maybe. And we've also seen recently some nice and big exits. Last year, Estonian startups exited. So there was 1.6 billion of companies sold. So big chunk of that money landed in Estonian banks. And now looking for startups, new startups to be funded. Competition is high, good deals will go really fast. Good quality deal flow is very important to succeed in this pretty risky asset class. What I can also see is that some new millionaires, startup millionaires, although coming from the startups, do not fully understand the math and statistics behind this asset class. So some training is probably needed also for the investors here. And fortunately, we have these bans, EstBAN, LitBAN, LatBAN, TBAN, and there are good training programs and excellent networks. So I do invite every investor who is trying and willing to invest into the startups to join angel networks, to have some good training and good network and good deal flow. What is also, I think, very important, and it goes stronger year by year, is what we started off from EstBAN, is investing blind tickets into the best or most investable startups in startup events. This year, again, we are investing into Aidis winner in Estonia and Startup Day, most investable startup. And if I'm not wrong, then also TechChill has this year's syndicate put together.
Great. And have you done investments during the past year yourself?
Yeah, I don't know exactly, somewhere between 5 to 10.
Okay, so actively investing.
Yeah.
Great. And just before I ask Aidis the same question, also wanted to let everyone know who's listening, if you're looking on the stream, you can ask questions in the Q&A section, and be happy to address those to our panelists as well. So Aidis, your impressions of the last year as an angel investor. What's changed? What's new? What's different?
For me, in addition to what other guests said, I can only I guess add that the pandemic was kind of a double-edged sword, since on the one hand it got easier to access the trainings for the investors and all the knowledge that Ivo mentioned. Because of course everything's online, so you don't have to drive anywhere, you don't have to devote more time into getting to the actual place where the knowledge is dispensed. On the other hand, it got pretty hard to evaluate in some cases the teams and the entrepreneurs that you are evaluating, and you're trying to decide whether to invest or not, because well, the chemistry via this is much harder to establish and much harder to understand if the person is in some cases even knowledgeable or not when you have a spotty connection and every second word gets cut off. So that's been a kind of a challenge, and that's why I guess I only did the one investment. Yeah, one investment this year.
Okay, and maybe continuing with you, sort of the next question is around, you know, what can be done to improve the angel ecosystem, and maybe also what is LitBAN doing in terms of, you know, Ivo already mentioned angel training is needed, so can you maybe comment on what needs to be done and what is LitBAN, as the Lithuanian example, doing to get more angel investors involved and maybe do better quality deals and maybe find more deals?
I think, I mean, I don't know what else to add to what Ivo mentioned, because in Lithuania, I guess, as an angel investor myself, as a beginning angel investor myself, I guess from LitBAN, what I get is actually the training and the knowledge, maybe how to invest, what to expect, what to look for, and what kind of, you know, I don't know even how to explain this, but basically how to be a good angel investor and not, on the one hand, not to play it as a lottery, and on the other hand, not to treat it as a very, you know, sound investment strategy. How to be a good angel investor. So LitBAN has been offering various courses and guest speakers and exchanges between angels. So I've benefited a lot from that in this year. That's my personal, of course, experience.
Great. And Voldemars, you know, you're also on the board of LatBAN. So how do you see this ecosystem developing, and what else needs to be done to improve the amount of angel investment, the quality of both deal flow and angels?
Yes, thank you for the question. This is a question we struggle all the time. All those years I've been on the board as well. I think education definitely is the way, and I've experienced through my own experience, as I told at the beginning, and we see more and more angels seeking for education, and specifically recent times during pandemic, another, let's say, challenge is effort of building cooperations between angels. When it was when we were attending like events and networking together, it was easier to build networks and to do syndicates and to do co-investments. Currently, it's when everything is online. My personal feeling is that we sometimes lack that cooperation and communication in order to make a deal, to sign a deal. Mm-hmm. So you like it, I like it, but we don't know about each other's, let's say, interests. Sometimes that is the missing piece.
Mm-hmm. And so, what do you think?
Exchange of experience, exchange of information.
And so you're saying that during the last year, it's just been really hard to make that happen, and
it has been an obstacle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ivo, what's your comment on the last year in terms of, or what could be done more? So EstBAN is, you know, there's the biggest business angel network of the three. You know, what are the key things that you think can be done to supercharge this, or is, you know, let me throw a provocative question. You know, will there be a time when you don't even need the EstBAN because there are so many angels that everything's just happening, right? Because in Silicon Valley, you don't have to run everyone together with a ban.
Yeah, EstBAN is actually doing right now a pretty good program together with FIBAN to educate new lead angels So I think the syndication is one thing that needs to be improved a lot, which means we need more lead angels. As we have seen from our statistics, the average ticket of the angel is somewhere around 10K. But from your statistics, what you just presented, so the rounds are much bigger than that. So you need a lot of angels to syndicate to be able to fund the startup. So therefore, we need good lead angels to run the syndicates under the umbrella of EstBAN or FIBAN or LatBAN, LitBAN. That's one way. What I think needs to be improved a lot, and there is a lot of room for improvement. Of course, Funderbeam works also pretty well. More and more startups get funding. It's actually for the startup, it's easier to get funding through Funderbeam than through angels directly. So it's easy to start off with Funderbeam with small tickets, and also for the bigger investors, if time is scarce, then it's possible also to invest through the venture funds. I don't know exactly what the tickets are, but I guess they start from 100K. So then you get exposure to many startups and professional investors, and that's also a good way if you don't have enough time and want to invest into quality startups.
Mm-hmm. And one follow-on question there in terms of the syndication. So, being a lead investor, because we're a lead investor, that's a lot of work, right? And so, is there a structure that EstBAN is putting in place for the lead angel to get compensated additionally for that effort they're putting in?
That's a good question. Yes, we have actually two things that we can do, or lead investor can do. He can get either a carry from the proceeds of the exits, or alternatively, he can invest, or he or she can invest with a discount into the startup. So there are two ways how we are compensating our leads, and I would say the carry model is more preferred. And what we have done differently, I think, from most bands around here, is that our syndicates, the companies itself belong to EstBAN. So they are like EstBAN daughter companies, and also the EstBAN gets a little cut from this carry.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So EstBAN might build up some capital over time. Obviously, it takes a long time, but that's great. So so maybe let me switch to sort of some questions around things to think about if you're thinking about being an angel investor. Sort of what are the great things you look for in a company, and what are the things to avoid? Maybe Aidis, we'll start with you in terms of how are you thinking? So top things to to really focus on that you're looking for in these teams, and the key thing you want to avoid when you're selecting angel investments.
Well, I guess to be very, very short is when I'm looking at a team, for me personally, it's very important that the team would be subject matter experts, not just people who can make some kind of technical solution to a problem that they think they know. So that the team would consist not only of the technical people who kind of make let's say, a software product or some sort of solution, but also people who know the actual market and the actual users that are going to be using the product. So especially in the case of marketing, for example, I've seen a lot of startups where technical people try to solve marketing problems without having spent a day in the shoes of a marketing person and trying to actually advertise a product or do something in that sense. So that for me is a very big criteria, I guess. And what else? What was the second part of the
main
question?
thing to avoid. What is the number one thing you don't want to see in a startup team?
I don't know. I guess the opposite of what I just said.
Okay. Voldemars, maybe I'll throw this at you.
What I'm looking for, first thing I'm looking for is, we can put it in one sentence, product market founder fit. So to find out that this is actually has a potential to work, because what we avoid is, second question is, have they done, let's say, the market need discovery? Because according to statistics, more than 1/3 of startup fail accounts for building something that nobody needs. So, and I see this as a big issue and challenge, because many teams, when asked how many potential customers have you spoken to, one, maybe two, maybe none. And this is a proof of evidence I'm looking for mostly.
Okay, and the number one thing to avoid?
Well,
what's the biggest turnoff?
I would say lack of commitment.
Okay.
Lack of commitment is also a huge challenge nowadays.
Okay, and Ivo, we'll finish with you, since I think you have the biggest portfolio. So across all your large portfolio, you know, what are the things, your lessons learned in terms of the top things you're looking for and that drive, you know, success versus the, you know, the things you don't want to see, why you've turned startups down or invested and found out the hard way that you should have spotted something?
Yeah, I think I've made all the mistakes that angel investor can do, learning the hard way. But starting from investing itself, it's I think the common mistake that investors do is they invest too much their wealth into single startup when starting investing. So actually, statistics supports the portfolio theory, and it's not a surprise all the funds follow the portfolio theory. They do not invest into single startup all their capital. So, but the things to look in startups. So I think the most important is team, of course. Then addressable market size, unit economics, of course, very important, scalability, investability, so that you won't be the last investor. The product or service, so it has to be actually really needed and sought in the market. Competition, exit opportunities, just to name the few. So, and to avoid the biggest learnings have come from, I would say, bad culture, solo founder, maybe also coachability, lacking coachability. Then unit economics, of course. So it's very difficult to have a small monthly recurring revenue and big corporates as your customers, so it doesn't work out.
Yeah. Got it. Well, thank you very much, Ivo. So I think we're going to have to wrap it up. This is all we have time for. And thank you very much, Ivo and Aidis, for joining us remotely. Thank you, Voldemars, for joining us here in the studio. And thank you, everyone. We'll look forward to the next session.